It's time for Salute Across America with your host, John Brenkus.
Hey everyone, welcome to Salute Across America. I am John Brenkus, and alongside me is WWE superstar Lacey Evans. Lacey, how are you?
I'm good, John. How are you? Thank you for having me again this year. I'm so excited. I mean, I know our lineup is incredible. We've got some awesome guests. How are you doing?
I mean, we started something last year that is really special, and I'm so honored to be able to continue it again this year. For those of you who didn't tune in last year, what we had were a whole bunch of celebrities, whole bunch of former military, a lot of companies that are military run. I'm the CMO for Cliff, the clean energy drink that was founded by a Navy SEAL, run by a Navy SEAL. And there's so many other companies and charities out there that are founded by former military, run by former military. We really wanted to shine a spotlight on not only incredible businesses and charities that are out there benefiting military organizations like Cliff. We just surpassed the $1 million mark of donating money to the Navy SEAL Foundation. But we time to salute the men and women in the armed forces who gave the ultimate sacrifice to protect our freedom, to protect our way of life. And so this program is really all about honoring those who gave the ultimate sacrifice and shining a spotlight on those who are carrying the torch forward. Lacey, as somebody who was in the Marines, talk to us about just that sense of honor and duty that you have when you serve in the military.
Yeah, I mean, I like you said, John, I was in the Marine Corps. I was a sergeant. I was military police. But what I love that you said and what just really resonates with me, not only doing this last year, but getting a chance to do it this year, is carrying the torch, because it never's like veterans and service members and even civilians that support our troops. You know, yes, there are so many that give the ultimate sacrifice, and we'll hear stories, but the ones that continue to carry that torch, and you don't have to just be a veteran. You know, there are civilians out there, such as yourself, that appreciate and love and salute our troops, the ones that are gone, that left their families, that literally given everything. And then there are ones like the ones that you guys are going to learn today, which is incredible to me, that continue to carry that torch and impact our country. And it's incredible the things that they do. And so the support never ends. And this entire show is exactly that, just highlighting the ones that are carrying the torch, and hearing some awesome stories and learning about these organizations that even I didn't even know exist. And I think that that's what's cool. It's like we're still a voice for those that have given everything to our country. And so that it just motivates me. If after this Salute Across America, you leave with a motivation. You don't have to be a fellow veteran. You don't have to be active duty. You could be a civilian sitting down. And by the end of this, just like last year, I mean, it just makes you feel proud to be an American and motivated across the board. So I'm excited to get started, John.
All right. Well, listen, we cannot start Salute Across America until we play the Star Spangled Banner, and nobody better to kick us off than the one, the only Ted Nugent. Uncle Ted, take it away.
All right, I can't help myself. From the Ted Nugent family and all the great freedom-demanding families of America, and beyond, quite honestly, we all know deep in our heart and soul that freedom is not free. And if it wasn't for that unique and superhuman spirit and courageous attitude of the heroes of the U.S. military, there would be no such thing as an American dream. I'm just a guitar player, but I know, being born in Detroit in 1948, how the U.S. GIs sacrificed dearly so we didn't have to speak Japanese and German, and we didn't have to tolerate kings and emperors and despots and tyrants and evil people. So God bless the U.S. military and their families. Quite honestly, the Nugent family, all my hunting buddies, my band, my crew, everybody I know, especially here in Texas and in Michigan and all across this country, and even my friends in Canada, they realize that if it were not for that sheepdog attitude of the military warriors, there would be no freedom. There would be no life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness. So we celebrate Memorial Day every day. We celebrate Independence Day every day. We celebrate Veterans Day every day. So on behalf of freedom-loving, freedom-cherishing Americans in the United States of America and beyond, thank you, salute, God bless, and Godspeed those who put their heart and soul into going to the front lines and taking on evil so that good can be secured and safeguarded. And I'm just a guitar player, but I know deep in my heart that all my inspiration comes from those special people who take up arms and charge into that fire in that not so quiet night. So God bless America, and God bless the warriors that provide America. love you all. America says thank you. Godspeed the warriors.
These are the ones who've been bred to serve. Honor is their birthright. When you work with these warriors, you learn that loyalty is a value that isn't simply taught. It's one they're born with. Built through a relationship of trust, through a bond of companionship, through a brotherhood of shared sacrifice and steadfast dedication. They were forged through rigorous training and honed by the finest instructors on Earth. But at their core, they possess a courage that can't simply be learned. Comprised of partners who never flinch in the face of danger or waver at the prospect of sacrifice, these canine units serve beside our nation's warriors as they fight to preserve what we cherish. We've taught them how to fight, and in return, they've shown us what unconditional loyalty looks like. Bravery is in their blood. Valor is an instinct. When these warriors complete their duty, the Warrior Dog Foundation provides them with a home deserving of the service they've given us all. At our state-of-the-art kennels, they receive rehabilitation and care suitable for heroes. Because that's what they are. When you work with these warriors, you're with a soldier who doesn't retreat and one that never gives up. That's what they teach us, and that's why we can't give up on them. Be a part of giving them a future today. Visit warriordogfoundation.org.
Joining us now is JJ Pinter. JJ, how you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Doing awesome. Now, there are a lot of great military charities that we're supporting. You are heading up Team Red, White, and Blue. Tell everybody about it because it's incredible.
Team RVB is a national veteran-serving nonprofit, and we're really focused on something simple. We want veterans to have an effective transition out of the military so they can live healthy lives and go back and serve in their communities. And we do it through physical and social activity. nobody argues that exercise is good for you. And especially now, kind of mid-COVID, everyone's understanding the importance of social connection. It's even more important in veterans. And so that's what we do.
So what does Memorial Day mean to you? Do you have a sort of personal story of, a friend that means a lot to you that you could share with us?
On a very personal level, I'm an Army veteran, and not only during the course of the war, there were some people that I know, but I think very much so I'm a West Point grad, and there was, I graduated in 2001, a few months before the September 11th attacks. And so that's kind of all I knew in the military was war. I kind of graduated into it, and that's all I knew. And I had 5 of my classmates who all died kind of in direct action. And then sadly, some have died kind of, after the war. And so those are, actually this flag I have here is a memorial to one of them. His name's Joe Lusk. He was a pilot who died. So, sadly, I wish I couldn't answer that question, but I can.
What's the best way our audience can support you?
Team RWB, I think get involved would be the best way. You can go to our website and just get involved. It's free. We have chapters in 200 cities. We have virtual events. Get involved. And if you're not a veteran, get to know a veteran. I think that's probably the best way. And, however your involvement wants to go after that, we'd love to have you in any way. I think, on a more personal level, there's this kind of weird dynamic around Memorial Day where people want to do something and they want to say something, but maybe, oftentimes they don't know what to say, so they don't say anything. Everyone I know loves to share the stories of people they know that they lost. So don't feel awkward about it. Ask someone, I love to share fond memories of friends I have that are gone. So I would say don't be scared to strike up a conversation. And if you know someone who's a veteran, ask them about it, because I'm sure that they want to help kind of keep those stories alive.
You're doing amazing work. So God bless you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks for putting this together.
Lacey, these stories are incredible. And this event of Salute Across America has really sort of taken on its own gravity. It's unbelievable how giving everyone is and how really patriotic this day is, as it should be. Talk to us about just that American spirit coming from your military background.
I think, when you are active duty or, if you served at all in the military, even if you were a civilian that worked around military service members, you get a sense of the patriotism that you'll never get to really realize until you're standing next to them and watching them do what they do every day for their jobs. John, yes, these stories are incredible. And as you know, when active duty or when military members sign that dotted line, they are signing their lives away, and not the ultimate sacrifice per se, but their time, their family, their mental health, their futures, everything. And, but that's what drives us, that patriotism, that the fact that we want to give everything that we have for our country and do what we can as citizens. But it shows in all these stories, John. It shows in these nonprofits. It shows in these podcasts. It shows in everybody that has joined us on Salute Across America, that it doesn't stop there. And I love that it does bloom off and flower off to even the civilians that work with them. It's an experience that, you'll never get unless you are kicking it or hanging out or working next to service members, because, they can't hide it. They love what they do, and that's what drives them every day. So it never ends.
Well, listen, up next on Salute Across America is one of my best friends, honestly. Ray Lewis is literally the greatest linebacker of all time and in the NFL. And he honestly is one of the most giving people on the planet. I always say, God speaks through Ray Lewis. If you watched his Hall of Fame speech and how grateful he is, a lot of people want to take an athlete and say, oh, that athlete is just way different than everybody else. They're just made differently. Ray is made differently in the spiritual sense that he is so in tune and in touch with gratitude. So here on Salute Across America is the greatest linebacker of all time, Mr. Ray Lewis, with a heartfelt thanks for the military.
Memorial Day, it's one of those days, every time it comes around, you see people celebrating, you see people gathering with their families. But today, I just want to take a moment just to say thank you to all of the men and women across this great nation that puts in hours that a lot of people can't even count. The things that they do, the commitment, the sacrifice, the sharing of their families. Not only should we say thank you, but we should say we appreciate each and every one of you for every day getting up and making us a better country by simply protecting us, giving us everything that life offers. When the good book says, love thy neighbors thyself, then every person that's ever served in the military on this awesome weekend and this awesome moment, I want to personally say thank you for all the things that you do and all of the memories of this great nation that you've created to give us peace, to give us protection. All happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. Love you all.
My timing couldn't have been worse. I was transitioning out of the military, going through a divorce, and I had no business experience. I heard so many reasons why this would never work. The backpack market's too crowded. The GORUCK challenge is too extreme. Nobody's that crazy. Rucking will never happen outside the military. Never, they said. Two things kept me going. The first was my dog Java. My life in 2008 felt like some sad country song, where a man's got a dog and a broken heart, and he has to figure out what to do with his own ruins. One path is to bury yourself in a bottle of whiskey. The other path is to do more of what you love. Java forced me to stay active, and he kept me smiling. Without him, there would be no GORUCK. The second was my commitment to the Special Forces way of life. The rules of business, they never really mattered to me. My goal was to honor my roots in Special Forces. This journey started with a napkin sketch of GR1. And a couple years later, we started proudly building them in the United States of America and offering our SCAR's lifetime guarantee. GORUCK is very personal to me. My buddies take our gear to war. They lead our events. They pay attention to what we do as a brand. And they all know how to find me. So I'm accountable to them. My nightmare would be if our gear failed them when they needed it most, or if we let them down in any way. So Green Berets are judge and jury of GORUCK quality. And Green Beret values remain our true north. Special Forces is a people-first organization. You train others, you work by with and through them, and you never quit until the job is done. It's not about you. In 2010, when nobody wanted to buy our gear, I had every dollar and then some sunk into inventory, I fell back on what I knew and started building teams at the GORUCK Challenge. Unknown distance, unknown time, unpublished route, details not forthcoming. Just bring a rucksack and welcome to a day in the life of Special Forces training. The surprising thing for me was that people, all these crazy people that don't exist, kept showing up and asking for more, and more, and more. Some things in life are not for sale. You have to earn them. And sometimes, you just have to know where to start. Rucking has always been the foundation of GORUCK because it's the foundation of Special Forces training. Put some weight on your back and start walking. That's it. These are our roots, and our focus at GORUCK is clear. We're the rucking company, supporting an active community of ruckers all over the world. So of course we build rucking gear and apparel and footwear. And of course we lead rucking events. But the magic of GORUCK is our global community. Ruckers on sidewalks and trails the world over. Ruckers forming ruck clubs and inviting any and everyone to join them for group rucks, free of charge. Millions of people out there are looking for something more. Something like this. Many say the bridge is too far, that the military and civilian worlds are too far. We see bridges everywhere, 1 mile at a time. Many say America is soft. We think they're looking in the wrong places. Our Special Forces cadre have pushed over 180,000 participants through some of the most grueling events on planet Earth. You've shown us the human spirit is alive and well and burning brighter than ever. Sometimes, you just have to know where to start. Welcome to GORUCK. We're ready when you are.
Joining us now is Craig Morgan. Craig, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, now you have a very unique perspective on Memorial Day with your incredible service to this country. Talk to us about what Memorial Day means to you.
I just think it's real important that as we barbecue, as we spend time with our families and our friends, and we celebrate this day, that we remember that the day that we're celebrating is the day that we remember those men and women who are no longer with us, and think about them and think about their families.
Now, you obviously have had a tremendously successful career post-military, but I can't imagine that there's a day that goes by where you're not just incredibly grateful for the gift that you've been given, not only for the experience that you had while in the military, but the current life that we're all able to live.
Oh, 100%. In fact, so much so that there's times that like, there's a term that a lot of people use, once a soldier, always a soldier. I still very much carry that with me. I've been asked many times, how did I transition my life from the military into the life that I'm living right now as an entertainer? And I tell them, I'm working on it. So it's, there's a part of you that always aspires to continue to do that, to serve, to be that soldier, that service member. But I also respect and appreciate the impact that I get to have now as an entertainer, especially the opportunity to bring more attention to those men and women that are currently serving.
Craig, are there any military charities that you'd like to draw attention to that our audience could support?
Oh, buddy, let me line them up. There's a couple that are real close to home for me. Operation Finally Home. I love working with these guys. It's an organization that provides homes for service members and their families. But they do a unique job of. There's a lot of other organizations that do similar things, but this one does it a very special way, in that they involve the community in such a way that they make the service member and their families and the community a part of each other. And I love that, because it's not just about giving them the home, it's about after that. So they do it in such a way that they're so involved that they never separate themselves from one another from that point forward. The Special Forces Fund, I think it's very important that we, these are our ghost warriors that are out there that are doing things a lot of the times when a lot of people don't even know about it. In fact, there are service members whose lives have been lost that we never hear about because of particular missions that they may have been on. And their families are left without their loved ones, just like the family members of the service members that we do talk about. That's why I love what that fund does. They take care of those families.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Craig Morgan, you are incredible. We thank you so much for your service. We thank you so much for sharing your talent with the world. And we appreciate you taking time out today to honor the men and women who have, given the ultimate sacrifice to really preserve our freedom.
Lest we never forget, we wouldn't celebrate this day, we wouldn't celebrate the freedoms in this country if it weren't for those who serve, and especially those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. So thank you.
God bless you, Craig. Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey guys, it's Donnie Wahlberg
and Jenny McCarthy Wahlberg
coming to you from our home in St. Charles, Illinois.
Land of Lincoln.
We want to say thank you so much to all of you for your incredible service and dedication to our country. You make us proud to be Americans. Your service means so much to us and to all the men and women of all the armed forces and all those putting their lives on the line for our country.
We salute you.
We sure do. Thank you.
All right, you know what, Lacey? These stories are incredible. And I did not serve in the military. My father was in the Navy, and I've been able to sort of be an outsider looking in and work with some incredible people. John Timar, who's the CEO of Killcliff, is a former Navy SEAL, and the founder of Killcliff is a former Navy SEAL. I want to hear from you, Lacey, what it means to take the dive, to just be willing to put your life on the line every day for this country.
I mean, yes, John, first, the stories are incredible. It just kind of shows you, without actually letting you feel and realize the extent that these service members have been through, and the ones that have given the complete sacrifice. But I mean, day to day as a service member, we sign the dotted line, being selfless and putting the country first, putting our Americans first, because it's something that our heart really wants us to do, is to give back and be the brave person that gets called in when we need to stop a threat, or when we need to make a decision that civilians, they're not in that place to make. And I think that, you wake up, me personally, as an active duty in the Marine Corps, you wake up with a family that you leave behind, knowing that whatever happens today, you did it for them. You did it for our country. So it kind of gives you the motivation. It is your why. There's a saying that a lot of people live their entire lives wondering if they ever made a difference. But the Marines don't have that problem. And I think that goes along with Navy and Army and everybody who's ever served, because we have made a difference. They have made a difference. And some, unfortunately, they gave the ultimate sacrifice and can't come back to their families. But that just goes to show you what our service men and women do every single day. They know that that's a probability, but they still wake up, they kiss their families goodbye, and they go out and do everything that they have to do as a service member. So, I mean, these stories just go to show that it stays with you long after you get out. It stays with you as a veteran. It stays with you now as a civilian in the civilian sector, giving back, continuing to give back, almost, but not exactly the same way that you gave back while you were active duty.
Yeah. This year, obviously, a lot of really crazy things happened. And one of those things was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. They got Tom Brady. They got Rob Gronkowski. And at the beginning of the season, I just said, you know what? I think the Bucs are going to, win it all. And we were really fortunate last year to be joined by Bruce Arians. And Bruce, obviously, is the head coach of the Tampa Bay Bucs, is a huge supporter of our military. And I had a chance to catch up with him. And here is Bruce Arians, the one and the only BA on Salute Across America. BA, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Hope everybody's doing great and getting ready for an absolutely great Memorial Day weekend.
Absolutely. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, so what's it like now to finally be that Super Bowl winning head coach?
Man, I never get tired of hearing it. I promise you that. It has changed in a lot of things in life, and for the better, obviously. And so proud of our team and our coaches and everybody that was involved in it. And it's just a fantastic year.
Well, it was incredible. It was awesome for us all to be able to watch that. It really gave us quite a bit of sense of relief, because it was such a crazy year and everybody was rooting for the Bucs every step along the way. And you guys came through in a huge way. So congratulations on everything. On Salute Across America, this is all about honoring the men and women who have given so much, and you are such an advocate for the military. Talk to us about what Memorial Day means to you.
Yeah, I mean, as a young man, I just remember seeing all the pictures of my uncles and my dad and everybody in their uniforms, and Memorial Day was always huge. It was always a big family weekend. As many cousins that we could get together and just celebrate and honor those men and women that we still have and those that we don't have. And it ingrained something in me at a young age, and I always honor the troops as much as we possibly can, because they're the true heroes in life.
Yeah, what's interesting in terms of a philosophy, you are you're the kind of human who really loves to empower other people and really allow people to do what they do so well. And our men and women in the armed forces are really allowing us to be free. Talk to us about, I mean, you've been all over the world. You've seen it all. Talk about how special this country is and what it means for people to be willing to put their lives on the line to protect our way of life.
Every Thanksgiving, we sit around the table, we hold hands, and we thank God for what we're thankful for. And the first thing I always say is freedom. And we wouldn't have it without them. And I always get choked up even talking about them, because there are men and women right now out there that we know their lives is on the line today. And man, we cannot do enough, say enough, praise them enough, and thank them enough, in my opinion.
We're still in a bit of a tumultuous time. Can you, with your words of wisdom, what's your advice for us to persevere and to make it through these rough times? What guidance can you give us?
Well, I think, last year was so crazy, and hopefully we're getting some form of normalcy back, and as many people as we can get vaccinated. I got vaccinated right before the Super Bowl, and as many guys and people that we can get vaccinated so that we can live our lives again. And again, the men and women that are out there on the front line and doing what they do, stay strong. You're trained for the job you're doing, and you're doing it great.
Awesome. Well, Coach, listen, thank you so much for dropping in and joining us on Salute Across America. We all are so honored that you took the time to join us. Just like last year, can we go out with a salute? Can you do the proper salute for our troops?
God bless you.
God bless you, Coach. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Today, we honor America's veterans and the military community who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Today, we take a knee to remember them and to pay it forward for their service. My name is Blake Hogan. I'm a Marine veteran and the CEO of Bunker Labs. At Bunker, we exist to empower the entrepreneurial dreams of the military-connected community, so those that serve can continue to serve their communities as small business leaders and entrepreneurs. So we invite you to join us in this salute across America and continue to build this country and to create the American dream. This is our salute across America from Bunker Labs. Thank you, and Semper Fi.
Jay Glazer, thank you so much for joining us.
My old friend, how are you, buddy?
Dude, we have known each other a very long time. Now, in terms of the charity that you started, MVP, Merging Vets and Players, I mean, it is an unbelievable cause, and you guys have had tremendous results. During this craziness, what have you been telling all your vets and all your players?
Look, for those of us in the fight game, those of us who are war fighters, those who are football fighters, if you will, you got to adjust your game plan on the fly. You got to adapt. If you don't in war, then obviously the results, that's the maximum result. If you don't in the fight game, then someone's getting knocked out if you don't have that, minute to adjust. And in football, sometimes you got, 5, 10, 15, 30 seconds to adjust to something. We had to adjust. So we were one of the first ones who went to Zoom. And man, we had about 100 people on that first week. And we are we're doing our same MVP. So we're working out for about a half hour just to give that burn again, all on Zoom. but then we sit. The magic's when we sit, we talk, we mentally coach each other up. It's a mental health huddle, if you will. It's a bunch of badasses who empower other badasses, and they deserve it. They deserve it. When you leave the military, you leave the locker room, and it's not so much the combat that everybody misses or the banging of the bodies, but you miss your tribe. You miss your locker room. And that's what we do at MVP. We give you back your locker room. We give you back your tribe. And for us, we preach vulnerability. These are not what makes us strong. Vulnerability is what makes us strong. And we all get each other in there. We open up, we cry to each other. We unpack a lot of stuff.
That's incredible. Now, you are best known for having information before everyone and having incredible sources. But I think really the secret to your success is being able to synthesize that and to be authentic and to know when to say this is true and this is just a rumor.
Sure.
Please, for our sake, you've been able to synthesize this. How should we be thinking as a nation on this Memorial Day weekend? What insight do you have?
Here's the biggest thing I want everybody. I want to shift the narrative here. And I did this with our MVP crew our first year. I came in and I said, "Hi, how you guys celebrating Memorial Day?" And I knew what I was doing. And they all looked at me and go, "What do you mean, how we celebrating?" I'm like, "Yeah, how you guys celebrating?" And they said, "Don't you know what Memorial Day is?" I said, "Yeah, so how we celebrating?" It was like, "What are we celebrating? This is when our boys and our sisters and brothers were killed. We're not celebrating." I go, "Why not? Why are you not celebrating them? You think they don't want you to celebrate them? We don't have to make today about doom and gloom or Memorial Day about doom and gloom. I know when I pass on, no one's wearing black. Everybody's celebrating me." So for all you guys who right now are going into Memorial Day, you've lost your loved ones and the ultimate sacrifice, man, celebrate them, love them up. It sucks that we lose our loved ones, no doubt. But don't try and figure your life out just because they're not here with you in body. And I choose to believe the souls live on forever. I think they're always there. And I think they're looking down at whatever afterlife you believe.
Those are incredible words, Jay. We are asking everyone on Salute Across America if you would be willing to salute those who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
Absolutely. No doubt. Thank you, and God bless you all. I appreciate it. And again, guys, please help us, help walk the walk with us. Go to vetsandplayers.org if you want to help donate, or if you're a player, any pro athlete, combat vet, we are waiting for you with open arms. It's free. Come join our team. Again, we're here to lift you up. Help come lift us up as well. You got to have your team again. Come rock and roll with your new tribe.
God bless you, Jay Glazer. Honestly, you are so positive. You're such an incredible force. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend. God bless you, brother.
All right, Samantha Snabs, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you head up Re3D. Share with our audience, what is Re3D?
Re3D is a social enterprise. It's a spin-off of Engineers Without Borders, NASA Johnson Space Center, where we seek to decimate the two biggest barriers to 3D printing, and we think that's cost and scale. We think that anyone, any place, anytime should be able to solve their own local problems. So we do that by making the world's largest affordable industrial 3D printer. So think of the size of the toilet up to as big as your budget. And so we print things, we say, at the human scale that people use affordably. And thanks to a lot of the community support, we've been able to modify the printers that print from filament, like a hot glue gun, to also now to be able to directly accept pellets and plastic trash. So we think that's another way to print faster with more materials in more places, maybe where printers aren't traditionally. With the hope to not only be greener, but to create jobs and economic independence.
We're asking everyone who's on Salute Across America to give us a nice salute to honor the men and women who have sacrificed so much for us.
And I'm in the Guard, so ours isn't as crisp.
There you go. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. Everybody go to re3d.org.
Thank you so much for your time, John.
Hey, you guys, welcome back to Salute Across America. It is WWE superstar Lacey Evans. Once again, I'm proud to be here for the second year to not only salute our Americans, salute our service members and veterans, but to be a part of hearing these incredible stories from these incredible service members and their families, and just seeing what they do to make a difference. And speaking of making a difference, one awesome podcast that I actually just learned about myself is called Hazard Ground, hosted by Mark Zeno himself. So we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Hazard Ground to hear the incredible action-packed information, heartfelt stories that he actually brings to you guys on this platform. So Mark Zeno, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Let us know what it is that you guys bring to the table for our country and for our fellow service members.
Thank you so much, Lacey. You know, Memorial Day is always a very difficult holiday for some, and for others, it's a holiday that, you know, I think is misunderstood. And ever since I have deployed and understood what Memorial Day meant more and more, you know, it's one of those things where for me, it has a lot of reverence. It still has a lot of solemnity to it. And while I'm not against anybody having a barbecue or cracking open a cold beverage and enjoying family and loved ones, which is absolutely okay to do, I just hope that people take a moment to pause and reflect on why we're able to do these things, on why this country still is the greatest country on earth, because we have had men and women who have sacrificed for the freedoms that we hold so dear, that have gave the last full measure of devotion, that have devoted everything and given everything to and for this country and for the love of this country. And those ideals, as much as they may seem distant and may seem almost fantasy nowadays, they're still here. They're still here for the men and women who wear the uniform every single day, and they're still here for many of the American patriots who live throughout this great country. So I hope that on this Memorial Day weekend, everybody takes a quick moment just to stop and think about what the holiday really means, and to pause and reflect and say a solemn thank you to all those who made the ultimate sacrifice. You know, for us here at the Hazard Ground, one of the fortunate things that we're able to do, along with tell some great stories, is to speak with Gold Star family members, spouses, siblings, husbands, wives, whatever it is. And we get to hear them keep those memories of the lost and those who gave their life, keep those memories alive. And that's so important, because it's more than just a name on a tombstone. It's more than just a name on a memorial bracelet that people wear. Those stories are super important. They are part of the heritage and fabric of this country. And it's so incredibly important that we keep those stories alive and we continue to tell them, not only for the loved ones who are still around, who are missing those people dearly on Memorial Day, but every day, that they help us remind us of those values I spoke about before, and help remind us of all those things that are so super important about Memorial Day. So we are very fortunate and blessed. And from all of us here at the Hazard Ground, we certainly will take a moment to genuinely reflect on this Memorial Day and say thank you, and God bless America.
When I served, my work was critical, and I don't feel like that's the case anymore.
I lost all of my friends when I got out. Had to start my whole life over.
I didn't know what to do each day. Then my marriage hit a real rough patch.
It got so bad that I was even thinking about suicide. I called the Veterans Crisis Line. I tell my buddies to call in case they ever need it.
When I retired, things slowed way down and lots of bad memories came back. I still go through tough times, but I'm glad I called.
You are not alone.
You are not alone.
You are not alone.
The person on the other end of the line isn't my judge. Lots of responders are veterans too.
We all need to take care of ourselves. If you're going through a rough time, call the Veterans Crisis Line.
Hey, I'm Pete McBride. I was the 2016 National Geographic Adventure of the Year. I'm a photographer and filmmaker, and I live in Colorado. I spent over a year walking 750 miles through the Grand Canyon, going from east to west, something that very few people have done. More people have stood on the surface of the moon than have walked the entire length of the Grand Canyon without stopping. You know, I went in like a lot of us do with certain things. Oh, you know, how hard could it be? You know, I'm fit. I've done a lot of backcountry stuff. That place is a different ball of wax. Basically nearly killed me. We were like calculating 2,000 calories a day. But there's a saying at National Geographic, you know, they don't say this outright, but it's sort of between the photographers, is that we don't publish excuses. came out and retooled and asked for help from friends and experts, and basically retooled the whole system. One camera. I made a documentary film about it too, and it's called Into the Grand Canyon. It's on Disney Plus. That project to the Grand Canyon was so humbling to me on so many levels, and it made me realize I have a lot of friends that have served.
My roommate in college, a guy named Dan Angeloff, went into the Marines
and sadly passed away. And just an interesting note is that I had a really tough day out in the Grand Canyon, and I wasn't finding water, and I couldn't figure out, I wasn't reading maps well, I was falling behind. And this may sound totally weird, but I was using my cell phone, just normal cell phone in airplane mode, but the GPS system still works, and occasionally the GPS would track where we were. And I would rely on that, and I'd link up to the satellite device I had when I was in a bad spot. And I picked up my phone, I kept looking, and suddenly it said missed call. And I said, wow, that's really bizarre, because there's no service out here, so there's no way I got a missed call. I said, I must just be losing it because I'm dehydrated. And then I said, well, what the hell, who called me? So I look at the missed call list, and sure enough, it's my late roommate from college, who was a Marine. And I was like, well, that's really weird. And I can't explain this, and this doesn't make any sense. And his last name starts with an A, so I was like, well, top of the alphabet, I just somehow phone glitched. And then I went and looked at my contacts, and he was not at the top of the A's. He's deep in the A's. So I'm like, well, this really is weird. And then at a certain point, I said, you know what? I'm not going to try to figure it out. I can't. I just sort of said, hey, thanks, Dan, for the message. I'll do what you would do, and I know you would hunker down and marine up and move on. And I just kept moving. We went another 4 miles and found water, in the dark. And so it just makes me realize that these guys, what they do, and men and women go through a lot, and they put their lives on the line, and I'm really grateful. And during that project, it seemed like one of them came back and gave me a little kick in the butt to keep going. And so, yeah, I'm just grateful for those people that go abroad to, risk things to help protect some of the amazing spots we have back here.
All right, Rob Riggle, thank you so much for joining us on Salute Across America.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right, so tell me, you have a very unique perspective in that you obviously served in the Marine Corps. You got out, and you and I did a really long podcast where we chronicled your career, and it's just been an amazing trajectory. But tell me what it means to you every Memorial Day to roll around and reflect on not only having served, but also just the men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice to give us our freedom.
I mean, it's one word for me. It's gratitude. It's all I think about on Memorial Day is a deep, abiding sense of gratitude, because everything that we enjoy has been provided by this country. All the freedoms that I enjoy, all the sense of security. I don't have to live in fear. I don't have to be afraid to speak my mind. I don't have to live in fear of tyranny. These are amazing things that we just take for granted. Every day we just feel like, whatever, and you can have, do, or be anything you want to be. And that's not the case everywhere around this globe. So to me, Memorial Day means gratitude, and that's what I think about on that day.
During this kind of crazy period in our country's history, the military just keeps marching on. I mean, there are men and women overseas still fighting the fight, and everyone is still serving. So, Memorial Day seems like it's coming at the perfect time for us to, not only honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice, but to really remind us how the sacrifice has given us a country that's literally, there's no better place on the planet.
I absolutely agree with what you just said. There's always going to be people out there who who don't like us, and I can't do anything for them. I just know what my experience has been and what I believe we try to do. Are we perfect? No. Are we trying to improve all the time? Yes. That's better than most.
Right, exactly.
And you're right about the military doesn't get a break. We don't get a timeout. You don't get to pause. You don't get to do any of these things. They still have to keep being vigilant all the time. And I'm so grateful to them that they're out there every day. That's one of the reasons I served, is I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to be part of that heritage that provides the protection and freedom for the rest of our country.
One of the missions of Salute Across America is just to educate people on the proper way to salute. I've asked everyone who's been in the armed forces to show me the correct way, and it's been interesting because not everybody is on the same page of exactly the right way to salute. But can you give us a quick tutorial for here's the proper way to salute?
Well, listen, here's how I salute. I don't know if it's proper because there's always going to be some salty dog out there going, "Oh, what the hell are you doing?" And I don't have time for that. So this is how I do it. I keep my thumb tucked in. You don't go thumb out. Keep the thumb tucked in. Make your hand straight. See how straight that is? It's not like this. Your wrist isn't like this. Your wrist isn't like that. It's not cocked all sideways. It's the straight line. Take your trigger finger and you put it right there to the corner of your eyebrow. Get that thumb out of there. You don't want to see the thumb here. Get the thumb back. See how it's a nice straight? Get that arm 45-degree angle. Get the arm parallel to the deck. Turn the hand in just a little bit. You don't want it to be English. Get it right here. Boom.
Well, listen, Rob, I cannot thank you enough for your time. I know that you're very busy, and I appreciate you taking a moment to reflect on those who have made the ultimate sacrifice and for joining us on Salute Across America.
Absolutely. It's my honor and my pleasure. Thanks, man.
Wow, these stories are unbelievable. Lacey, I admire you so much on so many different levels. You have accomplished incredible things in your life. You become a WWE superstar, rising to really, as the cream of the crop. But before that, an accomplishment that's probably even bigger than that is serving in the Marines. I want you to put in perspective the gravity of Memorial Day as someone who is former military.
Oh, that's a hard one, because everybody across the world, they do it in their different ways. They do it in their private decisions, but I feel like as long as people are realizing and being grateful, how blessed they are to continue to wake up, and realize that there are thousands and thousands of veterans out there, service members who did give the ultimate sacrifice, and just take a moment. And, like I said, it's all to each his own, and these opinions will come and go, but just take a moment to remember them. It's Memorial Day. Take a moment to acknowledge the fact that you can wake up with your babies, that you can make them breakfast, that you can carry out throughout your day. And I think that that's important. And I think that everybody that has joined us on Salute Across America has pointed that fact out, because they continue to take that torch. They continue to push forward and be good citizens. And that's another point, John, that I wanted to say is the reason so many join the military is to defend our country and make America a better place. And I think that we all, even as civilians, can acknowledge that and can continue to do that by being good citizens, by making America a better place, by being brave and nice and kind and hardworking and having all those traits, to continue to make America as good as it is. So, Memorial Day is to definitely take a moment to acknowledge the ones that have given the ultimate sacrifice, and realize how blessed you are to continue to wake up and to continue to push forward and be that good American citizen that they fought so hard for us to be. So, just put one foot in front of the other, acknowledge it and push forward and do just that, John. We're going to keep things rolling with Salute Across America right here, right now. Remember, keep going, put your best foot forward, and remember those who have given everything just as so much, and all these people here today are doing.
So the Warrior Dog Foundation is a 501c3 that really was developed and born out of necessity in terms of, military working dogs, police service dogs, really any dog that's served in any, formal capacity that the country, whether it's on a federal level, a state level, local level, you name it. And where the necessity came in is that a lot of times, or in some cases, these dogs are too big of a liability for the situation that they are in, and the unit has deemed that they cannot continue to harbor that liability, and so they are going to euthanize the dog, because in pretty much every case, these are dogs who have bit several of the wrong people and put them in the hospital and have just kind of shown that they are too much for a lot of these departments and units. So that's where we step in and keep those dogs from having to be euthanized. We take them and then, as a singular approach, act as an indefinite sanctuary for them. The secondary is obviously to try to rehabilitate these dogs if we can repurpose them with another department or unit, or in some instances rehabilitate them to the point where they can live out kind of a normal existence in a civilian or private sector home. So we kind of take it at that step-by-step process, but that is the reason we exist, is to alleviate the stress of and burden of having to euthanize these dogs that have served their country so well. I spent 12 and a half years as a U.S. Navy SEAL. As I was getting out, I started to get involved with the dog program. Once I did get out, I started my own dog company and came back as a trainer for the same unit, the West Coast Multi-Purpose Canine Program. And even before that is really when, I'd love to say that it was some, philanthropy dream or something of that nature, but where the calling kind of came in was very literally, in that there was a special operations unit that called myself and a number of other individuals and asked, if we could take a couple of these dogs that they had. And we all said no. Said, we don't really have the room or the resources to be able to take two dogs that have both been injured, that had both bitten a lot of people and were really hard to deal with. And so we just kind of left it at that. A few weeks went by. They kind of circled around and asked again. And, so for me, I understood if they were asking again, then nobody had said yes. And so I just said, what's going to happen if none of us take these two dogs? And they said, well, we'll unfortunately probably have to euthanize them, because we just can't take away from the resources of the existing dogs and handlers. And we just don't really have anywhere to put them or anything to do with them. So I said, at that point, I will take them, send them here, and I'll figure it out. And so from that day forward, it just kind of opened the floodgates with a lot of other units, and then police dogs started coming in. And then at this point, we've taken in dogs from just about every working agency that exists. So it's been a well over a decade project, and one that everybody on the team, is very, very proud to be a part of. Memorial Day for me is an absolute bittersweet time of year. I am always reminded throughout the year of friends and canines lost in their service to this great nation. And so there's for sure a mourning and a solemn feel to that, without question. It persists throughout the year, but especially when it's kind of highlighted during Memorial Day weekend. The sweet part of it, though, is to know that in each one of those cases, these individuals and dogs served a higher purpose than any one of themselves. And it's because of their sacrifice that you and I can sit here and enjoy this weekend and remember them and kind of relish in the freedoms and the liberty and just the way of life, the standard of living that we have the luxury and ability to maintain here in the United States. And so I ultimately use both of those principles to try to live my life day in, day out, to be worthy of that sacrifice. And I try to be very mindful of that and remind myself, daily that they're not here and I should take advantage of the opportunity of me still being here. I think the most impactful way that we can all, say thank you and respect the fact that people are currently serving as well as those who have lost their lives is to be worth that sacrifice. Be a net positive on society, whatever that is. I don't think everybody should serve in the military. I don't think, everybody should do one set thing. But I think, if you look at how you live your life and ask yourself two main questions, which is, am I a net positive on our society? And also, what am I passionate about that I can do where I'm serving other people, where I'm doing something for other people and making them a priority and helping them out, whether it's Boys and Girls Club, whether it's the military, whether it's, civil engineering projects, whether it's picking up trash on the side of the road. I mean, just pick something that makes a meaningful contribution to our society, and use that driving force from the people who have served their country and ultimately paid the ultimate sacrifice, as the motivating factor to why you're doing it. I think that's the best way to remember and say thank you and memorialize those that have been lost. So for the Warrior Dog Foundation, the best way, honestly, is to help out however you can from a donation standpoint. We do get a lot of volunteer requests and things of that nature. The tough part with that is that these dogs don't warm up to people very quickly or very well. And so, having people come and go is not advantageous for the dog's rehabilitation and kind of their normal day-to-day living environment. So, going to warriordogfoundation.org, and either donating or even something as simple as buying a t-shirt and spreading the word, passing it on to other people that are dog lovers, military supporters, and just spreading the word for what we do, who we are, and what our mission is, and what our cause stands behind is the best way to do that.
Andy Stumpf, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
All right, so you really have a unique perspective. Obviously, you were a Navy SEAL, and now you're out in the real world and have your own awesome podcast. I want you to tell us, what does it mean to be a veteran and to be a former Navy SEAL? What does that even mean?
Yeah, that's actually a tough question. I think the answer to that is going to vary by person. The military is such a melting pot of individuals. It's a slice of society. And I served with every belief structure, every background imaginable. I mean, I really don't think that I missed anything. And service means more to some than others. Pre 9/11, a lot of people would look at military service as a way to escape an economic system, or perhaps they were looking at it for their educational benefits. When I came in 96, I knew that I wanted to be a SEAL, but it was a concept. I didn't have anything to really base what it might look like if we went to war. I thought I knew what being a SEAL was going to be, and then post 9/11, it switched from being theoretical to practical. I'm very lucky that I was able to come back. And, when I came back, it was with all of my appendages, all of my fingers and toes. And I would say I'm largely unscathed. But there are many people, men and women, since the inception of this country that haven't had that opportunity. They had the same freedoms, but they took an additional step and they volunteered to wear a uniform to try to protect those freedoms. And this is another point I try to make when people will say, hey, thank you for protecting or providing me my freedom. I think it's important to realize that I and every other soldier, actually, that we don't provide you your freedom. The freedoms that we have in this country were secured by the founding documents of this country. But those pieces of paper are not able to stop bullets, and they're not able to protect the citizens absent action and people who are willing to step into the breach and put their life on the line for that. And that, for me, is the value of Memorial Day and why it's so important, because I'm so incredibly grateful for the freedoms that we have. And I've seen firsthand exactly what it takes not to create those freedoms, but to protect them for everybody else who lives under the banner of our flag.
One of the things that's most appealing about you as a human being is you're not willing to even venture into a topic and assert an opinion unless you feel educated about it. So that when you do render an opinion about something, it's from a place where you feel as though I've educated myself and I have an opinion on this. So I'm very interested to hear your answer to this next question. How do you think we get out of the current situation that we're in? What do you think ultimately happens?
I think this is the perfect time for people to look at how much information they consume in a positive versus negative percentage base, and to look at how much time they're spending on social media or a screen of any type. The amount of information that you uptake directly informs your behavior. And if the vast majority of that, in my opinion, is negative, it explains to me why people are making decisions based in fear and in panic. And those are the worst mental states to be making decisions in. Everything that I was taught when I was a SEAL is to maintain control of my emotions and not allow fear and panic to override my decision-making process. And it's very possible to teach yourself how to do that. But you have to, one, be willing to take an objective look at yourself, and two, dedicate yourself towards controlling the things that you can, which, if you really look at your life, the only thing that you can control is yourself.
Listen, Andy, I cannot thank you enough for joining us and taking time and sharing your thoughts. I really do appreciate your service, and I appreciate your intellect most of all.
Yeah, my pleasure. I've made them light on the intellect, but I do what I can.
Andy Ward, thank you so much for joining us on Salute Across America. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So you were in combat, and obviously very few of us can even remotely relate to the stress of being in combat. Tell us what happened in terms of just the psychological, physical toll that ended up just weighing you down.
I think the most difficult thing is I think people are attracted to the military that do well in high stress environments. So in combat, things just kind of click. Everybody works together really well. We all think as a team, get the job done. And the real stress comes when you get back and you're home and there is no stress. The most stressful thing is deciding what kind of cereal to get at the grocery store. And everything that you've been stuffing down, all the things that may have happened over there, it all just kind of comes crashing back. And that's really difficult to deal with when you're alone.
Wow. And how did MVP help you through this time?
I found them. I was newly sober, living in a sober living. And they changed my world. It gave me a family. So in the military, the camaraderie is just amazing. You have all these people to your right and your left who are super, just like elite people. And you all kind of think the same and you all function the same. And when you get back into regular society, you lose that. Regular civilians, they don't have the same training as you. They haven't been through the same things as you. And so bringing together combat vets and pro athletes, we all have that same shared experience of having been in elite positions in our lives and have been through a lot of stress. And so it's the feeling when you go into MVP, I felt like I had found my family again.
Incredible. Andy, listen, I want to thank you so much for joining us. You're such an inspiration. So glad you found MVP. So glad you're on that incredible road to recovery. Thank you so much,
Thank
Andy.
you.
Listen, you are such a role model. Cannot thank you enough for joining us. God bless you. Thank you so much for your service, and thank you so much for, not giving up and keep pressing forward.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lorenzo Alexander, how are you?
I'm doing great. Really enjoying life right now out here in Phoenix. And even though we're going through a pandemic, things are going well for us because I got time to spend with the kids and the family after a long NFL career.
In terms of the sacrifice that our men and women have made over the years, in terms of laying down their lives to protect our freedom, I mean, I've always struck with a sense of awe when I pass a military cemetery. What are your feelings about how incredible our armed forces are?
Both my grandparents served in the military, and fortunately they didn't die in battle. And so I got a chance to kind of hear some of the stories growing up about just the people they came in contact with, the type of men and women that they served with. And obviously, anytime that you make that ultimate sacrifice of laying down your life for your brother, for your neighbor, for the country, for people that you don't even know, it's just so inspiring to be able to be that type of person. So I have so much respect for our men and women that currently serve, as well as those that have made that ultimate sacrifices passing away in the line of duty.
Would you be willing to salute those men and women who have fallen to save our freedom with me?
Of course.
Let's go up and down. Nice. Thank you so much for joining Salute Across America. Can't thank you enough. You're such an inspiration to so many people. God bless you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, and thank you for all the troops out there that are still serving.
Joining us now is Rick Hogg from Warthog. Rick, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, John.
All right, so for those of us who don't know what Warthog is, what is it?
We provide mobile firearms, tactical, and canine training to law-abiding citizens, military, and law enforcement agencies.
So what does Memorial Day mean to you?
So it's a day that we set aside as a country to recognize our fallen. However, for some of us, Memorial Day is every day. Long story, Joe Andres was killed December 24th, 2005. Sorry. Over in Iraq. So the thing is, I don't really want to think about the loss per se. It's about thinking of the good memories and how do you harness that. So for the viewers out there, if you're going to take nothing else away, remember Joe Andres, and remember he was, as I dubbed him, the Baghdad Christmas cake thief. So obviously he was killed Christmas Eve. And to kind of lead up to this point, I would find these Christmas cakes either in my bed, in my kit, in my boot, just around. I was like, who is putting these things here? And literally a couple hours before Joe was killed, before we launched out the door, I caught him. He was getting ready to stick a Christmas cake in my stuff, and I was like, it's you. So, here's the thing. It's funny because, at least in the Hogg house, the Christmas cakes, that's a tradition. You can only eat one. So they come packaged, or they used to come packaged back then, 2 to a cake or 2 to a package. Now they're just one. But my wife, God bless her soul, man, married 26 years. She found these. I mean, granted, they're 4th of July, and we're not big cake fans, but she bought them in memory of Joe. So it's just, that's our continuing memory towards him. So it's not a day for some of us out there. It's every day.
It's such a powerful story, and obviously it's still so emotional to this day. What is your advice for us as ordinary Americans, people who didn't serve in the military? How can we best honor the fallen?
Trust me, you're not that far from somebody that knows someone that has paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country. And that's the way. Just don't take a day to honor them. Honor them every single day. Every single day you look at that flag, go, you know what? I'm grateful for those that gave their life for my freedoms.
I can't thank you enough for being willing to share your story. I want to know, how can we support Warthog the best?
Really, it's just kind of getting the word out there what Warthog's doing as far as our open enrollment classes. Warthog.com is where we're located at. You guys can just go there. Obviously on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Warthog Tactical. And then that's how we kind of get the word out there as far as what we're doing. And again, we push, the firearms training to, both civilian, military, and law enforcement. So if you are that first-time firearms owner and you're looking to improve your skills, hey, reach out and sign up for a open enrollment class.
Listen, Rick, thank you so much. Honestly, you're incredible. You're doing amazing work. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your positive energy. And we will be thinking of you and Joe and every veteran, who's served and who has made the ultimate sacrifice.
Thanks, John. And just remember too, if you and other people out there thanking, the service member, thank the families as well, because we couldn't do it without them.
All right, we're keeping things rolling here on Salute Across America. I am John Brenkus, and beside me is WWE superstar Lacey Evans. Now, Lacey, before you were in the WWE, you were in the Marines. And look, I don't think it's any secret. You are a beautiful, blonde-haired, blue-eyed bombshell who is a total badass. When you were in the Marines, what was it like serving side by side with men? I know that in your unit, you were the only female. What was it like just being the only female in your unit and really having to hang with the boys, as they say?
I mean, it was like most jobs, even in the civilian sector, in the military. You have a mission, you have a job, you have a job description, and you have to fill that billet. You have to prove to not only yourself, but to them that you have what it takes to get the job done. So, there was really no difference other than I had long hair that I had to make sure was pulled back tighter, John, and get in there and get the job done. But, we had the support across the board. I was the only female, but those men that were in the stack, and when we made entry, they came in hot right behind me, right in front of me, and we all came out together. So it was an incredible experience that I'm blessed to not only get to have, but got to show the world what women are capable of, and especially as a veteran and a service member. All right, let's keep things rolling right here on Salute Across America. All right, joining me now on Salute Across America from Drinking Bros Podcast Network, the one and only Dan Holloway. Dan, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's been a while, John. I see that you got your hair cut. I've heard some horrible things about what your hair's looked like in the last couple of months. So I'm glad to see that you've gotten back to a respectable look.
That's right. My son has grown out a heck of a mullet, if I may so myself, because I'm very proud of him. He saw a picture of me back in 1986.
This is the one where you're standing in front of the Camaro, yeah.
That's right. That's right. I think you guys showed that. So, well, listen, on here on Salute Across America, we wanted to take the time to touch base and really get your thoughts and your reflections on, the making the ultimate sacrifice. I mean, you served side by side with some of the bravest men and women ever. Give us some sort of insight on what Memorial Day weekend should be.
Well, I like to think of it as a time of reflection and respect. I mean, a lot of people say things like Happy Memorial Day. Probably not the best thing to say, but you know what? Their heart's in the right place. I would say to those who haven't served to try to talk to somebody that has this weekend and try to get inside their head a little bit. Even as somebody who served myself, one of the things I like to do is I like to think about the people who ran up the stairs on 9/11. I like to think about the people who ran towards the sound of gunfire, particularly folks like Medal of Honor recipients like my co-host on American Party podcast, Dakota Meyer, people who willfully ran into danger, in some cases into certain death. And I like to think about what went through their minds when they did that and why they did that. And I like to imagine what I might do now to live a life that's worth that kind of sacrifice, right? That's kind of how I operate on this day. It's kind of a period of, I wouldn't say silent reflection, but I like to have conversations with people I know about it, my family, things like that.
I love the idea that you just expressed about live a life that's worth sacrifice. That's worth, people, so many people have laid down and given the ultimate just to keep us free and to live the lives that we want to live. I wanted to get your perspective on, there's just obviously a lot of just craziness that's gone on. But one thing I think that remains is a very high regard for, the men and women in the armed services and the armed forces here. It to me, that is something that would be very hard to tarnish because we have the best fighting force in the world.
Right. I mean, these men and women routinely put this is the difference between the United States and a lot of other places, particularly people that we might consider enemies. The United States warfighter puts themselves at greater risk than they need to make sure they don't take innocent lives. You know what I mean? It is something that is part of the doctrine from the very beginning of your military career, is that we play by a different set of rules than everybody else. Now, we've got all this technological power, we've got all this money, and we've got all this great training. But at the end of the day, it comes down to people, good people. That's who makes these sacrifices, is good people just like you, just like everybody sitting there at home. All they did differently was decide to go serve. And I think it's a good example when we're talking about how might I live a life worth that kind of sacrifice. I would say service is the best way to do that. Find a way to serve your community, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is. There's all sorts of ways to do it. You don't have to go fight in a war. You don't have to be a police officer. You don't have to be a firefighter or a nurse or any of that stuff, but you can find a way to serve your community.
Yeah, this weekend is such a great reminder on be a good person, be nice, be kind. Because that really is, at the core of it, our job is to perpetuate love. And, the military is the extreme example of being willing to risk it all for everyone else. If that's not an expression of love of not only country, but of your fellow humans, I don't know what is. So Dan, on Salute Across America, it started with a little bit of a debate on what is the proper way to salute. What, in your book, now that I know that there are 10 different answers, depending on who you're asking and in what field, what do you think is the correct way to salute? Teach us all.
When you say correct way to salute, you mean the mechanics of saluting?
The mechanics.
Okay. All right. So the first thing is fingers and thumb extended and joined, a knife hand. It should be a completely flat blade. That's your hand. And your arm moves at a steady pace up until your index finger, middle finger touch either your beret, your patrol cap, if it's out here, or your eyebrow if you don't have a hat on, if you're inside, if you have PTs on. That's pretty simple. There's only one way to do it in America. I don't know what else you've heard. When to salute? I mean, that's a good question. It's when you walk past an officer, for example, is a good time to salute. Anytime that either retreat or reveille is playing, if the national anthem is playing, there's a lot of reasons to salute. I don't know why there would be any kind of different way mechanically to do it, though. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this later and see who said what.
You're going to watch later, and some people some people have differing opinions on it, but everybody has the right intent, and everybody does it. Everybody does it the way, especially today, that you should. So, Dan Holloway, thank you so much for joining us on Salute Across America. Can't thank you enough for bringing your words of wisdom, every day with the Drinking Bros podcast. Everybody make sure you check it out. And God bless you, Dan.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, joining us now is one of the co-founders of Kryptek, Butch Whiting. Thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
All right, so for those who aren't familiar with Kryptek, give us the quick education on it because it's an incredible company.
It's a company that has a large landscape. So our slogan's battlefield to backcountry, and that's truly the essence of who we are as a brand and also as individuals. We have programs that we do on the tactical side and the military side. We have programs with U.S. Special Operations, and then also we're deeply entrenched into the hunting side, and we do everything in between as well, lifestyle. So it's a pretty broad landscape, but a bunch of former soldiers that love to hunt, that came up with an idea about how cool would it be to be in the outdoor industry, and it went from a concept and idea into a hobby phase for a number of years, has now come to fruition. And when guys are around bored in between doing missions, their minds start to wander, and ours was wandering and daydreaming about being in the outdoor industry. And those war game sessions and imagination sessions became reality for us. So,
give me your perspective on Memorial Day. What does it really mean to you?
Memorial Day, for me, isn't really about my personal service or the service of even the others that are in Kryptek. It's more about our nation as a whole, and generations and generations that have sacrificed so that we're able to live in the freedoms that we live in now. I don't reflect on my personal combat experience. I reflect on my grandfather's combat experience, and I reflect on, those generations that set the conditions for us to be able to enjoy what we're doing now.
What's the best way that our audience can support you guys?
The best way to support us would be to wear our gear, to purchase our gear from our website, kryptek.com, KRYPTEK.com. We have really super broad spectrum that I think touches, whatever you're into. If you're into the outdoors, we've got a product for you. And then we've got the hardcore, like if you're kicking indoors, we've got the most premier tactical gear, uniforms that have been designed with a lot of input from the world's most elite warriors.
Butch, I can't thank you enough for taking time today to join us. Your company is incredible. We will do everything we can to support it. We are asking everyone if they would be willing to just give us a nice military salute to the fallen, to the brave men and women who have given their lives to protect our freedom. Would you be willing to give us a quick salute?
Yeah, sure.
Nice. Thank you so much, Butch. Listen, have a great Memorial Day weekend. We really appreciate all your thoughts and your positive energy, and we will support you as much as we can.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Grady Jarrett, thank you so much for joining us. How are things down there in Georgia?
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Things are as good as they can be right now down in Georgia. Loving it. It's where I'm from. So, it's been cool.
Now, with Memorial Day upon us, talk to me about how proud are you to be an American right now? Because you really are the American dream.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. It means so much to be an American. We live in the greatest country in the world. And, I like to treat it as such. We got people that have fought for our freedoms, and the opportunities we have here to chase the dreams and passions that we have on a personal level it's a huge, for me, it's a huge blessing, and it's something that unfortunately everybody across the world don't have the opportunity to do. So to be an American, man, I don't take it lightly.
You're one of the biggest, most powerful people in the NFL. And when you see somebody who, a serviceman or woman, somebody in the armed forces, how humbling is it just to see somebody who's willing to literally lay their life on the line for us to have our freedom?
It's very humbling. It's very humbling. That's the highest sacrifice somebody can do, put themselves out there on the front lines, whether it's putting themselves out there in the midst of a pandemic to be exposed to potential virus, or a soldier going out there, going to war, training day in and day out to protect the country. It's just so commendable, and you can't do nothing but respect it, and it makes you want to go harder in whatever realm of life that you're in. But I just think the effort that we put forward towards, just being good people, good, Americans, that's how we pay that respect back to the people out on the front lines.
Would you be willing to just give a quick salute for us to those who have fought for our freedom?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Right there. Yes, sir.
Listen, Grady Jarrett, thank you so much. God bless you, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you play this season.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Much love, John. Thank you for having me on.
All right, Jason Johnson from Project K9 Hero, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, talk to me about the origin of Project K9 Hero, because everyone, I imagine, in our audience loves dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. I spent a career in the military, law enforcement, working overseas with canines and in the federal government. And what I learned over the 25 plus years was there was no programs in place to help them in retirement. There was no medical funds being set aside. There's no like VA program for the dogs. So when dogs leave service, their handler, whoever adopts them, is financially responsible, but they can't always pay those bills. And those bills can be outrageous. Those bills can consist of cancer treatments. We've had amputations, bills that run up over $10,000. And a soldier or police officer is not always equipped to do that. So I started a national nonprofit to be a resource for them, that no canine hero should go without because someone can't pay a bill. And we raise money nationwide, and we help pay those bills directly. Our first ambassador, Flash, had passed away. She helped me start this program. She was also the 2018 Law Enforcement Dog of the Year in America. And behind me, we have one of our first recipients, Big Fuzz, who served in Iraq. And he served there doing explosive detection for the U.S. ambassador, came back to the United States and served in Williamson County, Texas as well. And again, a great example of a hero that served overseas and stateside, yet still needed medical help when they got out of service.
So what's the best way that our audience can support you?
Well, first of all, just going to our website and checking that out at projectk9hero.org. We have a lot of great things in our shop. You'll see I'm wearing our red gear today, our Remember Every Dog Deployed. That helps us support all the dogs downrange, which we feel is very important. When they get back, we help them with medical care and all of our gear there. But, checking out our social media as well, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Project K9 Hero. And if you can't donate, we understand that. Just spread awareness of our message. Give us a share, give us a like, and let people know that organizations like ours exist out here to make sure we protect those who protected us.
Incredible. Listen, Jason, you are doing incredible work. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for starting this amazing charity. And I will absolutely encourage everybody to support you as much as humanly possible.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Scott Heusing, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to be here. Happy to support you, and all Americans on this Memorial Day 2020. I think it's important, not just this year, but every year, that we pay respect and honor those fallen warriors that have given the ultimate.
Now, for you, you have a unique perspective. Having served for as long as you did, do you have a personal story that you can share with our audience about what Memorial Day means to you?
I've got countless stories of witnessing heroic acts of these young men and women, some just barely out of high school. Those were the men I commanded in Ramadi, Iraq in 2006. I mean, literally, if you think about it, just we're playing high school football the year before, and now they're in charge of other Marines, and they're doing these brave acts and with moral and physical courage day in and day out. And I think what's probably most important to me on Memorial Day is to stay connected. Families who are such an incredible group of people who were so inextricably connected to through their loss, and really become their sons and daughters in their absence for the Marines that we lost when we fought.
What is the best way that our audience can support you in everything that you're doing?
Well, like many veterans who transition from whether it's 4 years or 24 years of service, we've taken up the mantle of responsibility to continue to lead and to establish nonprofit organizations, SaveTheBrave.org, where we help veterans who are struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder through outreach programs. We take them offshore fishing. We help our Gold Star families with costs and anything we can do to help fill one small gap. And if there are people watching this and they want to support Save the Brave, just go to SaveTheBrave.org. You can donate $5 or $500, but you make a difference. And a lot of people talk about wanting to help, or they have some sense of patriotic guilt that they didn't serve their country for whatever reasons. And I always tell people that I don't need to hear that, because you can always serve. You don't have to put on a uniform every day. You don't have to shoot a rifle and kill the enemy to have served your country or to serve and help veterans. There's so many great charities out there doing so many great things. I'm proud to be the executive director of one of them, but really having a voice and really making that effort to go out of your way and give of yourself and give of your time, I think are probably some of the most important things that are helpful to our veteran community and those who have lost, that we honor this Memorial Day.
I encourage everyone, please support Save the Brave, such an amazing organization. Scott, you're an incredible person. God bless you, and we will be praying for you and for everyone.
Hey, thanks again. 7 for 5, brother.
Chuck, huge honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's very humbling, and what an honor.
Now, you are such a special person. You so publicly went through, surviving cancer, and you were such an inspiration to so many people. Tell me, what does it mean to be an American where you are incredibly resilient and able to bounce back from something even as potentially lethal as cancer?
I can't believe it's already been 8 years. I was diagnosed back in 2012, and I have such great appreciation, not only for just the men and women of our military, obviously, the sacrifices that they make, but all the doctors and researchers, nurses, caregivers. I think back to that time, John, when I was diagnosed and going through, 26 days in the hospital, and all the people on the front line right now, the doctors, the nurses, the caregivers. I mean, I just have such great appreciation and admiration, and I got so much, support and encouragement from so many people I knew, but more people that I didn't know. And that's what makes our country so great. I don't know if that happens anywhere else but America. Right. I don't know that I survived that whole ordeal, and I'm so grateful and so thankful for all those people that helped me through those circumstances.
I think a big key right now is for our country and really the whole world to be resilient. And there's no one better to talk about being resilient than you. What is the key to bouncing back?
Faith, belief, grit. Life's going to come. And I always talk to, players all the time. My team's in Indy, going through what we went through in 2012 and being able to come through that fire together. It's about your faith, and it's about family, and it's about a community coming together, for a common cause. And I know this, that, when you first hear those words, you have cancer, you want to sit back and maybe have, why me moment, and maybe throw yourself a little pity party. But then, you think about, I thought about my wife, my daughters, my granddaughters. I signed up for life for that, and they were counting on me to be there, for a long, long time. And so it was right then and there that I made a decision that, you know what, I would beat cancer, and I would walk, 2 more daughters down the aisle. Everybody that's going to watch this, John, you have to know that the good Lord gave all of us exactly what you need inside to get through any set of circumstances. And you just have to, you get knocked down, you just have to pick yourself up. You got to dust yourself off, and you got to fight, and you got to keep fighting, and you got to have a great attitude. And you just got to know deep down in your core and your heart that you can win.
Very wise person gave me a piece of advice that was, no matter how bad your situation appears to be, believe it or not, you're one step closer to being out of it. It's like, no matter where you are in the process, you're one step closer to getting out of it. And the idea of things will get better, whether you like it or not. Like, no matter how doom and gloom your brain is and how many tricks you play on yourself, that, oh my God, I'm never going to get out of this. The truth is, you will. You're one step closer. And when you have that positive attitude and that idea that positive energy begets positive energy, that's where we really are as a country right now. And that's why bringing together so many great military organizations and shining a light on, the men and women who have had to make real sacrifice, dying to protect our freedom. There's no better time than right now to sit back, reflect on how fortunate we all are to have such an incredible military.
Hey, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And again, as long as you don't throw the towel in,
yep,
you don't give up, and you just keep moving forward, one step at a time. We always talk about, people can look at these things as 2 different ways. Is it a sign or is it a test? And if I'm weak-minded, and I want to fall into that, woe is me type of mindset, then I'll say, you know what, this is a sign that, things really weren't supposed to happen. They weren't going to work out. I'm not going to get this job. I'm not going to get through my circumstances, whatever. Or if you've got the mindset you just talked about, John, that, hey, okay, this is a test, and we're all being tested right now. And I'm going to pass this. I'm going to pass this test. I don't care what my circumstances are. I don't care what I'm going through. I'm going to pass it, because I'm going to get up every single day, and I'm going to be grateful for today. I'm going to give thanks for today, and I'm going to kick today's butt. And then if I get tomorrow, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get up and I'm going to take full advantage. The Harbaugh brothers, they always say, we're going to attack today with an enthusiasm unbeknownst to mankind. Jim used it when I was with him at the Ravens. John uses it at Michigan. My nephew plays football for Jim at Michigan, and you hear him say that all the time, but it's so true. I used to say, I have to. And now I say, I get to. Wow. Because I think, cancer didn't happen to me, it happened for me. And I didn't know that at the time. 8 years down the road now, having this conversation with you, I know why. And we get to, we get to do and live the things that we get to do every single day because of what you just said, because of the men and women that sacrifice their lives, so that we have the very freedom to get up every day and attack every day with everything that we have, and to give back and to serve and have that servanthood mindset.
Like you, I am a man of faith, and, faith really gets you through good times and bad times, right? I mean, it's not like you can just be ask, for help and guidance when things are bad. It's, when things are good, it's staying humble and making sure that, you're helping as many people as you can. In terms of that faith, whatever someone's particular religious affiliation is, it seems to me like now is a perfect opportunity to reconnect with how faithful are you? how dependent are you on the collective energy of the universe and the desire to do good for others?
No, I think that's huge, and I think what you said as far as we have a tendency. It's like in sports when you're doing good, and you're winning, everything's going your way. You have a chance to get a little bit complacent maybe and take your foot off the gas and kind of think, wow, this is pretty easy, and you take things for granted, and then all of a sudden, you get knocked off your high horse, and it's the same thing that you're saying, John, is like, in good times, I think that humility, I think having a heart filled with gratitude for all that we have, is amazing, and so it's not just in circumstances and times like we're dealing with now. And I feel how blessed I am to have my job, have a paycheck, and I know there's millions of people out there now that are struggling. Our thoughts and prayers are with them every day. But I just think that I always go back to the saying, faith is believing in what you can't see, and the reward for believing is that you'll get to see it. And together, we'll pull ourselves through this as a community, as a country. Together, we'll do that.
For you, what does Memorial Day mean?
It's just a time to, sit back and reflect and remember all those, who served, all those who sacrificed their lives, so that, we can enjoy the very freedom that we have. Right. This is the greatest country in the world. And, it's just a time to reflect and think about all those people, men and women, gave their lives so that the opportunities that we have, that I've been afforded, so I just think back to, my uncle served in Vietnam, my Uncle Joe. I was blessed and fortunate, just being in the National Football League, John, and the salute to service and the military people that I've met. I've been on 2 tours because of the job that I had. I did a USO tour over in Tokyo and Japan, and went around the world with Admiral Winfield, Andrew Luck, and a bunch of players were with us. And I was on the DMZ, standing right on that line, between North and South Korea, and just amazing opportunities to meet some amazing people.
You have lived all over this beautiful country, and I know one of the states I believe that you had a stop in was Wyoming. Can you talk to us about the beauty of Wyoming?
Yeah, it's where I went to college in Laramie, and spent 4 great years there. It is beautiful, and if you're not a believer, and you don't have a strong faith, just go visit the Grand Tetons. Go to Jackson Hole, go to Yellowstone, go there and visit that place and see the beauty of just those mountains and that landscape out there. And it's pretty amazing landscape.
Chuck, we are asking all of our participants to salute our men and women who have fallen to protect our freedom, to sort of complete the salute across America. Would you be willing to give a salute, a nice proper salute to our fallen who have protected us?
Absolutely. Can you see me?
I can.
I'm so grateful and thankful for all the men and women that protect our country, that have given and sacrificed so much for us so that we can live the lives that we lead. Thank you so much. I salute you.
Chuck, you are an incredible human being. I cannot thank you enough for taking the time on this early Saturday morning. We will all be rooting for you, as you know. We are all still Chuck strong. That is for certain.
That means a lot. Thanks for having me, John. Appreciate it.
That's going to do it for us here on Salute Across America. Lacey Evans, any final thoughts?
I mean, John, just take a minute to realize what Salute Across America is. The stories that we've heard today, remembering those Americans that have given the ultimate sacrifice, and realize how blessed we are to continue to carry that torch. Just like all these stories, all these organizations and podcasts are, they're using their voice just as all of us can do every day to carry on what those who supported and defended our country till their last breath. And I think that that should motivate everybody and realize, you know, just like you said, how blessed we are to go forward each day.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Salute Across America. Please, everyone, go out and support every company and charity that's been involved. They're just incredible organizations. And also support your fellow neighbor. Be kind. Do something nice for everyone. Let's take this weekend to sit back and reflect on the sacrifice that's been made by so many to keep us free. And let's live a life worthy of that sacrifice. Thank you all again for joining us, and God bless you, and God bless America.
Hi, my name is Carrie Manalakis, and I'd just like to take a moment to honor those who have served our nation and are no longer with us, as well as say thank you for your service to those who are watching today. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to